name is Asif Khan. I have an architecture studio in London, and our focus is across many different scales, from sort of urban to spaces, buildings, down to installations and products. The approach generally in our studio is to be curious about and experiment with people's relationship with materials, people's relationship with nature, and often people's relationship with technology to different degrees in the project. And that's a reaction to the way we live our lives. We spend a bit of our time looking at our phone, a bit of our time staring at the computer, and a bit of our time hopefully enjoying the fresh air. And so it's kind of architecture that's appropriate for modern human beings. All of our projects have a kind of core ambition, which is to move a project beyond where it began. So to try and realize potential within opportunities. And some of those are like urban opportunities, like it might be about a particular area of the city that if we tried a little bit harder, we could enhance it and we could change the way, say, public transport worked around the site. Or it might be in an object where if the material just reflected the light in a certain way, the relationship between the person and the object would be entirely different. So this kind of across the functional behavior and aesthetic behavior, we always believe there's more there to be discovered, and just by investing time and effort in, we tend to get there. But it's generally a lot of sweat and tears to get to that point, but it's always worth it. That's why I do it. Like, it's the most rewarding part of the project, to discover things. At the moment, our projects vary from kind of urban scale cultural quarters. So there's one that we're doing in the London Olympic Park, which we are shortlisted for at the moment with a lovely team of architects in London, down to specific approaches to urban context. So like we're doing a street in Shanghai, which we have the chance to change its appearance of, which will be the middle of next year. The project we did for Coca-Cola was for the London Olympic Games. And the basic idea of the project was to experience architecture through music and music through architecture. If you think about a track is a beginning and an end, and it's got a duration, right? So we took that as an analog for a journey through a building. So the duration of this track would be 12 minutes. And we said that, okay, that's about the amount of time to walk through this building. So we took this track and we turned it into a spiral ramp, right? And each bit of the track we decomposed. So as you walked up this ramp, you would encounter the instruments, the different kind of musical stems that created it, like the kind of intro, and then the central verses and so on, and then the outro and so on. And that became the spatial journey through the building. And then what we basically applied, this kind of language we developed of these red and white ETFE pillows, which is a technology normally used for building envelopes, so for the roof and protection from rain and so on. But we use these inflated ETFE cushions as triggers for sound, and there were what are called exciter speakers embedded into these building components, which were responsive to proximity of people. And as you walked through the building, you basically were walking through a piece of music, and you became the conductor and the composer. And as you touched the building, working your way around it, you created a new piece of music each time. There's a real pleasure in having a variety of work and having many different scales, and that's what I'm trying to keep going in the practice. And I think if you work on small things, you don't forget how it feels to touch objects and how the texture is so important. And then when you're working at the urban scale, that sort of know-how affects how you design big things. And I think it has to. If you start designing 100-meter long things without remembering that it's about people, it will be very obvious and people won't visit what you've designed. That's the rule book of our office, is everyone has to work at different scales.